Welcome to Mr. Barta's Google Classroom for Life Science at Northdale Middle School. I'm going to show you a little mini webinar on how to use your science study cards and your learning target sheet to better prepare your student or yourself as a student for quizzes and assessments and try one final and all those fun things that we need to do in our school this year. So first things first is you are going to open up your 14-15 Nature of Science study cards. And it looks like this. Now each one of these questions or statements is something that your student or yourself is going to need to accomplish or know by the end of the try. So you can scooch through and look through each one of these questions and kind of come up with answers for each one of these on your own, or you can use this method. Let's pretend I'm trying to find number 5 here. Define mass. So I'm going to show you how you should go about doing this. So define mass. And now your student or yourself, you might be able to figure some of this out on your own. So number 5. So I'm going to go down to my blank cards down here. I'm going to go to number 5. And I'm going to type in mass and the definition of mass. Then it's asked me to also find what tools that we use, and we use a triple beam balance or electronic balance in order to measure mass. So that is my number 5 card is done. Now it's back up to the top and continue on to the next one. If for some reason you don't know which study cards are due, you need to ask Mr. Barta, and I will try to make sure that I can get those out to you as fast as possible. We just had a quiz on study cards 1 through 6, which would have been, learning targets 1 through 6, so which would have been learning target 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So you wouldn't have had to do any of these ones at the bottom, so only 1 through 6. And our next quiz will be on learning targets 7 through, I believe, 7 through 13. Learning targets 7 through 13. So those are the learning targets and the study cards that you'll have to complete. Now here's how you use your learning target sheet to better yourself as a student and find these resources that you can't solve on your own possibly. So you go back to the Google Classroom and you open up our Nature of Science Learning Targets sheet, and here is our resources, folks. This makes life a little easier for you as a 7th grader. Here are all the learning targets of what's expected of you, and here is the pages in the textbook in which you can find the answers to the questions. So I'm going to show you what you need to do. Let's pretend that I wanted to find mass's definition. I didn't know it. So I'm going to go back over to learning targets. I'm going to find target number 5, and I'm going to look at the resource column, and it looks like on page R20 I'm going to find the definition for mass and or some tools that they're going to use to, and it might even give you the answer in the possible learning target there. It might give you the answer. So use those resources. These are your best friends for studying for quizzes and exams and try one final, all that stuff. So use the study cards, use the learning target sheet. These are there for you to use. Now, some students don't know how to use them to actually study with. So once you have all these completed and they're all answered, all you need to do is use them kind of like flashcards. So let's pretend I wanted to define volume and kind of think about volume and the tools that we use to measure it. So I think out loud saying define volume. All right, volume is the amount of space an object takes up. Okay. Now, what kind of tools do we measure volume with? Well, we measure volume with a graduated cylinder and a metric ruler, and I know volume is length times width times height, or we can use water displacement to find the volume of an oddly shaped object. So that's the kind of information I should see at the bottom at number 4. Now, I haven't filled that in, but that's what the kind of information your student should have. So definitions, tools used, methods to practice, those types of things. And so this is a resource for you and your student to use, and hopefully this helps a little bit throughout the process. Thanks for stopping in.